Here we go. Okay, towards her. Go ahead and clap. Thank you. Now let's go outside. Okay, don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Every time we clap is when I can edit. I use the file from that, and that's why you can only clap once. Thank you. Yeah. So that's Amanda. I think everybody has that friend that you look up to. That friend that inspires you, motivates you, and somehow manages to make you laugh when you need it the most. She manages to make even a simple dish amazing, delicious, and unique. That's Pablo.
I was forced to do this, actually. I know Jackie since middle school. She was my first friend, and apparently she really wanted to befriend me because she knew I was Latina. I like to start off with the drink, if the occasion permits, but no. Sometimes I like to have a little glass of wine while I cook. It's my favorite sound in the world. I made this for our Thanksgiving potluck at work, and everyone loved it, and I got emails from multiple coworkers asking for the recipes. It is actually my Rosemary Chicken Salad. So I have my ingredients out here. I use this Trader Joe's chicken just because it's very, very easy for me to make. I just open and drain and use this, but it's definitely something where if you like want to boil chicken first and shred it, or if you have leftovers from like a Pollo Loco or KFC or something, you can chop it up and put it in there too. Greek yogurt. So this is one of the ingredients that makes it a little bit healthier. I use 0% milk fat Faya Greek yogurt. I use this as my base instead of like any other traditional chicken salads that would use mayonnaise, so I use that. Some dried cranberries just because it adds some nice texture, and I like the juxtaposition of sweet and savory together. Some chopped garlic, fresh rosemary. I don't like to use any of the dry rosemary. Some Dijon coarse mustard, which just adds a nice bite and texture to it. Some relish. It just adds some nice flavor to it as well. Granny Smith apples. I like using Granny Smith apples just because I like the tartness and I like the crunch factor that it adds to it. But before I get started, it's one of those things of I have my glass of wine here, but then also I have to have music while I cook. I think that's the Mexican in me. If I cook and clean, I have to have music in the background. I watched the Food Network a lot when I was a kid, and that was really like my education of how to cook and really like my knowledge of things. I'd say just go with what you like and things that you enjoy. If there's ingredients that you like or enjoy, and if you think outside the box of how to incorporate those ingredients into things you like, you'll be able to really come up with some good recipes. Like one of the things that I really like about this is like fresh herbs. So I incorporated rosemary just because I like how it has that like nice floral flavor to it. And you don't really need to put too much to get a lot of flavor in something. So that was one of the ingredients that I incorporated here. So Pablo's on a very strict diet. He is on a diet of carrots and blueberries and his dry food. We don't give him any other kind of treats. Sit. So what I'm gonna do is just add the other wet ingredients like the Dijon mustard. I'm probably just gonna add that much, maybe a little bit more. Dijon mustard is a very, very strong, potent ingredient, so I don't want to add too much or else you make it bitter. That's my oven. So I don't have a toaster, so I put slices of bread in the oven just to toast it up because we're going to be eating this in sandwich form. I think one of the first things that pop into my head is just not giving up. I feel like when you're young and getting your career started and you're in LA, it's so easy to just want to throw in the towel and give up and just kind of go down the easiest route to finding how to get by. When I graduated from college, it was definitely during like a really hard time just because it was during the recession. And I remember graduating and really figuring out that like I can't get a job anywhere, and I really, really wanted to work in the fashion industry, and that was my end all be all. And oh, I'm adding garlic, by the way. This is probably like one of my favorite ingredients ever. Right before I graduated, I was working at this boutique in my college town called Weekends. I went to school in Boulder. And I worked in retail because I remember hearing that if you want to get in the fashion industry, working in retail is the best way to start, and it's almost like a must. And this one customer came in and was shopping with me, and he asked me, he's like, "Oh, are you graduating?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm walking next week. Can't wait." And he asked me what my plans are, and I said, "I want to work in fashion. I'm going to move back home to LA. It's going to be awesome." And I remember he said, "Well, good luck." He's like, "There's not going to be any jobs for you." And he's like, "I feel sorry for your generation." He's like, "With the way the economy's going," he's like, "you'll be lucky if you even get a job." Holy crap, am I even going to get a job? Am I ever going to be able to work in the fashion industry? Am I ever going to have my big break? But I realized that was one guy saying that, and I didn't hear it from anybody else. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, the hell with it. I'm just going to move home. I'm going to work in retail. And I did. I moved back home. I worked at Nordstrom, and I just hustled. Like, there are times where I wanted to quit my internships, and I would just work full-time at Nordstrom and just work my way up. But then I realized, I'm like, you know what? No. My mom would tell me, don't give up. Someone's going to notice. Someone's going to see your hard work, and they're more than likely going to offer you a job. And then about a month later, where I was at, one of the higher-ups actually pulled me to the side and asked if I wanted to be his assistant. And I accepted the offer. I moved to LA the next month in a very, very tiny studio apartment in Hollywood. And that's when I got my big break. Just don't give up. Just keep going. And don't listen to any negativity of people saying, you can't do this, that's too hard, it doesn't exist. Because chances are the people that are telling you that are not in your same position, so what's the point of listening to that advice? You just really have to go with your gut and just put your blinders on and keep your eye on the prize. Yeah. Now I'm gonna get back to my recipe. I'm adding relish. Like I said, this is not a favorite for people. I like pickles. I like the texture of pickles. I like how it's crunchy, so I'm not gonna put too much since some people don't like relish. But it's really, really good, I promise. You can't even taste it. That's why I'm only putting a little bit. But you really want to be around people who are like-minded, who want the same things, who really share the same passions as you. And if not, it really does take into effect of your mindset on things, I feel like. Tend to go down with people who are also going down because they don't want to be alone. And when you're with people who are very positive, you see a difference. You're happy for people, you're happy for yourself. You're not afraid to be happy for yourself. You're not afraid to be happy for others. So I think that's a really, really important part too. I'm gonna cut some apples. Okay, so I have Granny Smith apples here. I like to use Granny Smith apples just because they're more tart and they're, I feel like, a lot crunchier than other apples. I don't want anything that's too spongy. So what I do is I like to slice them very thinly.
I guess life is that way. You can slice and dice any way you want. Just make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people, with the right positivity, so that they can bring you up, not weigh you down.
Mixing in the Granny Smith apples now that I diced up. I just used one Granny Smith apple, but like I said, if you love Granny Smith apples, you can add an extra one. So it's honestly, it's just like a little recipe of mine. You can add whatever you want to it, just to float your boat. Okay, so next I'm just gonna add some dried cranberries for flavor. Some chicken salad recipes usually add raisins to it, but I feel like raisins are too sweet and there's a little bit of a tartness to cranberry, so I like to add them in. Also, it's nice for like presentation purposes. It just adds some color to the mix too. So I'm just gonna put like a few handfuls in here. Sorry, my dog's crying right now. Pablo. Okay, so rosemary, important ingredient. A lot of people don't know how to use rosemary, but what you do is when you buy it fresh like this, a good trick is to just run your fingers down the branch and just get the leaves off. It's a lot faster than just picking it. They sell rosemary oil, and like, let's say you have like really, really dry hair, if you do like a rosemary oil mask, so they sell it just like you would buy like olive oil. And if you have like really, really dry hair, you can put it in there and just leave it on as a mask like once a month and then rinse it out. And one, your hair is like super soft and replenished with an oil, but then at the same time, it smells really, really yummy.
Thank you. All right, well, this looks amazing. She already gave us a sneak peek, so I already know that it tastes good. But now we're gonna eat it with one of my favorite things, which is bread.
Can I give you a background on the bread though?
Please do.
So in order for this to just be an overall relatively healthy sandwich, I added some arugula there. So I love arugula. It has a nice peppery taste to it. I also used a whole grain bread, so there's no white flour in it, which is a little bit healthier than just like white flour bread. And also the portions are smaller, so you don't have to eat too much.
I can vouch that the bread smells delicious, so don't be fooled by the fact that it's not your typical, if you like your white or sourdough bread, it still smells really, really good.
I mean, bread is bread.
You know, the reason why Donas and Tortas is there is because, yes, it's two of the things that I love most in this world in terms of food. So I wanted to ask Amanda, what are two of her most favorite foods?
Oh, that's easy. Buffalo wings and cheeseburgers. Yeah. With ranch dressing on the side for both.
Yeah.
I would like to give a shout out to Cheesecake Factory and ask why they don't do the gravy boats of ranch anymore. Now, no, they don't.
I did not know that.
Those little gravy boat silver like ladle things, they don't do that anymore. All they do is give you like a little side of it, and then I get embarrassed and I'm like,
absolutely,
may I have another?
Yeah, we need to get to the bottom of that.
It's embarrassing. You guys like get with the program. Like if it's broke, don't fix it. And you try to fix something that was totally working.
But you don't have ranch in your food.
I don't.
And that's what it comes down to, passion. If you can't be passionate about the small things like ranch, how can you be passionate about your life? So we hope that you guys continue to be passionate about whatever it is that you like, enjoy. We're going to go ahead and enjoy this lovely meal that Amanda has made for us. So thanks again for joining us at
Donuts y Tortas.
Okay, we can eat now. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's eat.
Hi, booby booby.